Have you ever wondered what Dutch Harbor is like in winter? Home of the Deadliest Catch? Well, back in 2010, I was fortunate enough to travel to Dutch Harbor and find out for myself. In these 3 videos, I'm going to share my photos and video clips and stories of my trip to Dutch Harbor. Hi, I'm Kip Piper with Travels with Kip. I show women how to travel solo at any age by sharing my travel vlogs, travel tips, advice and guidance, destination and packing guides, and having fun along the way. Please like, comment, and if you're new to my channel, please subscribe. Since travel is restricted because of COVID-19, I'm reaching back into my travel archives for this trip. My adventure began back in early January 2010 when my friend Brenda called me from out of the blue. At the time, she was the director of the Unalaska Port of Dutch Harbor Convention and Visitors Bureau. She and I had worked on design projects and graphic design projects in the past when she was the director at other cities. So she invited me up to design their 2010 Convention and Visitors Guide. Of course, I jumped at the chance to visit Dutch Harbor and to work on this great project. To visit Dutch Harbor. Be sure to watch at the end of the video for links to the visitor's guides. I flew from Austin, Texas to Dutch Harbor in late January. Yes, Alaska in January. And from Anchorage to Dutch Harbor, I rode in a Pen Air prop plane. Now it's about 1,000 miles from Anchorage to Dutch Harbor, almost halfway down the chain of Aleutian Islands. We stopped in Coal Bay to top off the fuel because back in 2010, we wanted to make sure we had enough fuel to get to Dutch Harbor and back to Coal Bay. Why? Well, if Ballyhoo Mountain, which is next to the Dutch Harbor Airport, was covered with clouds or fog, then we would have to turn around and fly back. We couldn't land. So we had to make sure that we had enough fuel to make it back to Coal Bay. Why couldn't we land? Because it was strictly visual flight rules for landing at Dutch Harbor. No instrument landings. So they don't land at night either. Strictly daytime landings. So since no instrument landings, there's no way to navigate through the clouds. Fortunately, that day, the sky was clear and we could land. Landing was a trip. You come down right next to Ballyhoo Mountain. I mean, it's right outside the left side of the plane. And I was sitting on the left side of the plane at the window, and I felt like I could just reach out and touch it. It was surreal. The runway is only 4,100 feet long. There's water on 3 sides and a mountain on the 4th. It is one of the most challenging airports with an average of 250 days of rain each year and consistent fog. They used to fly 737 jets into there until one didn't stop at the end of the runway and ended up in the drink. This even happens with smaller airplanes. In fact, one of Pen Air's planes slid off the runway as recently as October 2019. Inside the terminal, under this great welcome sign, I discovered my bag had not made it. However, Brenda's dear husband, Cam, who had come to pick me up since Brenda was working, said they should arrive on the next flight later that day. Honestly, I was a little concerned, but I trusted him. Then Cam whisked me out of the airport for a tour of the island. A little backstory. Cam really knows Dutch Harbor and Unalaska Island. He lived there for several years and also worked on many of the crab fishing boats. He and Brenda are friends to this day with the captains and the crews. He took me way out to Summer Bay to see the wild ponies. They are so cool. They were just hanging out and snacking. And yes, I know the photos seem dull because the colors are kind of washed out, but it was winter in Alaska. On the way to see the ponies, we had passed Priest Rock. So on the way back, I took this photo and video clip. Also on the way, I got to see the tundra up close. And it is just a thin layer over bedrock of these mountains. It is just fascinating. Here you can see where it has broken off and slid to the bottom, leaving the bedrock exposed. Now this tends to happen when there's a lot of moisture and the tundra gets too wet and heavy to stay attached. So it just separates and slides down. This can be seen throughout the island. I was just in awe of this wonderful wilderness. After we got back to their house, I saw this Arctic fox across the street. That night we had king crab legs for dinner. Cam had been saving them just for me. As you can see, they were huge. I've never seen king crab legs that big. And boy, were they tasty. A piece of meat coming out of one of the legs was the size of a kielbasa sausage. So ended my first day in Dutch Harbor. Be sure to check out videos 2 and 3 for the rest of my story. And please like, comment, and if you're new to my channel, please subscribe. I have a question for you. Have you been to Alaska? If you have, what did you like best? If you haven't been to Alaska, where would you like to go? Please comment below. I'll be looking for your comments. Till we meet again, get out your front door and seek adventure.